What's going on, everybody? This is Super Robot, and today we're going to talk about two figures today. This is going to be a double review. And yes, this is going to be an epic double review. This takes a lot of work to pull this off. But today we're going to talk about the ThreeZero Robotech ROBO-DOU VF-1J Veritech fighter, aka by Rick Hunter. For my Japanese aficionados and Macross, this is the VF-1J Valkyrie, which is piloted by Hikaru Ikujio. And also here we have to the right, we have the ThreeZero ROBO-DOU Robotech VF-1S Veritech fighter by FOKKER, which is the same name in Japan, just VF-1S Valkyrie by FOKKER, spelled with the CK. Now, for a lot of people, maybe explain the stupidity of a lot of collectors out here. They don't like these ThreeZero versions because Harmony Gold's got a stamp on it. Because they feel with the DVDs and things that they couldn't get released over here because of Harmony Gold, it's Harmony Gold's fault that we're not getting the toys. Well, we are getting the toys the same way we would have gotten them before, importing, regardless of whether they're sold here or not. What store is going to carry them? See, the problem I have with collectors is stupidity, because you're mad and then you join in with the rest of the people and you all get mad and you don't know the whole story. And then you follow along and no, it doesn't matter. They have a reason to be mad. Harmony Gold does, not at every other company that I will definitely agree they should not be. But for what it's worth, they just not very good business people. Let me just put it that way. But you can't blame them. You would have never known about Macross or any of the series Moss Spiegata or Southern Cross unless it was for Carl Mychek. So get out your feelings, because we're not going to have it today. And if you don't like it, exit your ass out the video. All right. Now, for those that want to stay and watch Robotech and whatever, just imagine they're the same goddamn figures. All right, let's go. So what do we have in front of you here? We have two Valkyries here that are 160 scale. Now, do be in mind that ThreeZero does tend to scale a little on the small side by usually about a 0.5 centimeters. And they did the same thing with their Voltron. It's 10.5 inches versus, I believe, the standard size is about 11. And it's the same thing here. They're about a smidgen smaller than the Yamatos, but they make up for it in the ingenuity and the tricks that they pull off. They're not perfect, but they're very close to perfection. Once you see them and get them in hand, you will be a fan. So much so, I have already pre-ordered the VF-1J Max and the VF-1J Milia to my Japanese people, Maximilian Genius to my Japanese people as well. So yeah, I got them on pre-order because damn, these things are that good. Now we're going to go over the box. It's going to be a little bit of a different review. I wanted to get that preface out the way, or preface. But anyway, let us begin. We have these wonderful jets right here with landing gear and all the good stuff. We've got missiles loaded on, no fast packs, no strike packs from the movie, but I guess we'll see those later on. Now, will they do the strike packs? That is DYRL. They'll probably do the super packs because that is TV show. Although they are also in the movie. Will we also get the VF-1As? Will we get the movie colors of the VF-1As as well as the traditional TV colors? Yes, they are differences. Will we get the VF-1S in red that Rick Hunter gets at the end of DYRL? So forth and so on. I have questions, but hey, we got what we got. I still want to see what they do with the VF-1As. But anyway, these things are nice. So before you continue, the boxes hold the exact same things except for what's on the front of the box. And basically what you get is some hands. You get the weapon, the gun, which is already attached. You get the missiles, you get the strap. These are side pieces that fill in the toy when you get the robot mode, and they do a wonderful job of keeping everything together. It's not much accessories except for the missiles that you get. I mean, pretty much the guns. And we're going to go over all of that, and we're going to explain a few things. So let's look at the box real quick. We'll flip over the side of the box because I ain't want to spend 20 years on this thing. And you can see here how it looks on the back of the box. It's got that there. Also, you can open the box. That's right. It's got a Velcro opening. And of course, if you keep it in the robot mode, very similar to that of Toyomi Masterpiece boxes, but these are 10 times better. You get the little boxes inside, you get the skull, squadron, emblem. Now, do remember that technically Rick Hunter becomes leader of Vermilion, and, he doesn't have Skull Squadron on his VF-1J. The VF-1Js are special, and they are only shown in the television series because they were built actually in Japan, going by the folklore, while the VF-1S and the VF-1A were built in the same factories, which is, I forgot where. But that's the story behind them. I can go deep if you want. You get a spudger, you get the fist, you get a little antenna for Gerwalk mode. Oh man, it's all that. So we ain't gonna see these boxes no more because they both do the same thing. They both have the same accessories. And right now, it's a lot of boxes. A lot of boxes. A lot of boxes. Let's move them out the way. All right, we got these 2 aeroplanes here that fly. And oh Lord, I think I lost a missile. Did a missile go? Pause. All right, we're back by YouTube Magic. And we now have both jets in their jetty mode. And we're going to go over a few things here. Now, this was the first release, which was the VF-1J Rick Hunter. Now, his wing swept is looser. They do have a lot of material, like etching and markings on here. And those markings are very important. Now, it's very hard to show this off under the right light. So I'm going to down this here so it's not too bright, but you can see it there. And yeah, those are nice. I mean, this thing feels nice. There is die cast metal all throughout the figure. It makes it have a heft. It is heavier than Yamato. It feels a lot nicer. The jet mode is nice. Now, these do come out, but I'm going to show that off on the other figure so I don't lose them, because I don't want to lose any parts for these. Now, we'll compare these to some other, just one other figure that I want to explain to a lot of people, because, people love to follow along with other people and overpay for stuff. But this thing is beautiful, man. And we're going to see the Roy FOKKER version, which is the second release. Now, I noticed with him, the windswept is a little tighter on the wings. The undercarriage, the same, as you can see there. Now, all of this is metal, and there's little secret buttons on here that you have to push in the legs, and make sure you know where they are. Now, when you take the front intake covers off, you get these. Now, a lot of people say they are a little too recessed. I disagree on that. I think they're fine, but like I said before, if you're trying to deal with the line art, that's something different. But as you can see here, there they are right there. You can see the intakes right there. You bring it back down because, like I said, with white, it's going to really be hard to see if I have the exposure turned up. I'll have to finish everything in post. But as you can see there, that's how everything looks. Now, when you want to put the landing gear underneath, they go in like as follows. Starting with these sides here, they do flail out, and then they have the flaps that are right there. And then all you would do simply is kind of angle it and make sure nothing's in the way. And these flaps do get in the way, and just angle it until it recesses into the cavity right there. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to do the same thing. And then once you do that, you're going to close them. And then you're going to close them again. And then you're going to go up here. And you're going to do the same thing. And there's the tow bar right there. You just simply fold that in, fold that in, fold that in, fold that in, and then fold that in. Now, the only downside to this is the back here is very thick. It should not be that thick. And it causes the arms not to be flush. So the gun will droop. And the gun is UN Spacey. It's underneath here, and you can see it there. And, inside of there is the pilot. Let's take a look inside of there. And y'all, there it goes. And it just you can kind of pull it out too if you want. And you can see there is the pilot right there. We'll take a look at that, and that's how the inside of the cockpit looks. And you can see here is the skull leader, and this is how they both are. You can see it right there. There he is. So yeah, that's how it goes. Right, we're back by YouTube Magic, and we now have Roy FOKKER without the landing gear. We're going to show off one comparison. I want to talk about it. So why am I showing this off? This is a high metal R. This high metal R is one that comes from a special pack. This is the VF-1A Ikiro Ikagio. No, it's not Rick Hunter, because it's not. It's the Kairu. This is the VF-1A from Do You Remember Love? Now, the VF-1As in the Do You Remember Love share the same paint markings as the VF-1S, while in the anime, they're not going to have this paint scheme. They have more of a different paint scheme for the 1As. This will cost you about $200 because this is the VF-1A with the Super Valkyrie parts, and they also come with a fatal flaw. Now, if you get this set for that price, you may get either 2 left parts or 2 right parts for the legs. If you don't believe me, go look it up. But because it's never open, the seller won't be able to know if you have that or not. So when you buy it, if you buy it secondhand, like I say, it costs, if not as much as one of these, and these are way bigger and way heavier. Now, don't get me wrong, the high metal R's do have metal in them. They have a lot of improvements. There's a lot of part swapping involved, somewhat, but it's still decent. It's still at 1/100 scale. It has nice details, but let's just be for real. I mean, the gun pod is almost as big as this. And, you compare it to the size of that of the, of a Valkyrie. I mean, there's no comparison. This is bigger, it's more substantial, and you're going to pay less. And it's heavy. This thing is heavy. It's not heavy like I'm a big brick, but I'm saying weight-wise, it's got good weight. That's what makes it even better. So, I know a lot of people want these because it's Bandai and it's Macross and doesn't say anything with Robotech, but you're paying more for less. That's all I got to say. And, that's really where I wanted to show off this comparison, because I also have this that's going to be going to someone pretty soon. But you get my drift. I mean, this is going to be a lot better, has more details, pretty much has perfect transformation, borrows a lot of cues from Bandai. Like I said before, if they make a revision, I hope they make this part right here, right there, like slimmer or not as thick as this, so the arms can fold in a lot better, but it is what it is. Now, it does have kind of a bulbous shape a little bit, usually like that like one of those old like 60s experimental rocket airplanes, but it actually looks pretty good, and it does look like how it should. So, if you get these, you're not going to be disappointed. There are a lot of little details too, like up here, it's supposed to be, I guess, the guns, they slide in and out. You can see the little hole right there. He does have the cover. I mean, everything that a Valkyrie should have, it's here. So next, we're going to get this into Gerwalk mode as always, and we'll be back in 2 and 2. All right, we're back by YouTube Magic, and I just wanted to show off a quick comparison between a modern day Valkyrie from the modern day Macross series versus the original. Now, again, this is scaled smaller. Like I said, it's whatever they run their CAD process, it seems to run a tad bit smaller, but it's still smaller than the modern jets that are out in the year 2050 versus the year 1999. And you can see it there. This jet is a lot bigger. Now, as far as the toys, remember now, these are the DX Chogokin. This is, if you don't know, this is from Macross F. This is the YF-27, VF-27 Baron version. There's also a green version with Grace O'Connor. It's just this one, just green with the super parts. This is the second release that comes with the super parts. So it has the matte finish. It has the better, better fixing, better tooling. but it's there. It seems that the jets in Macross F and Macross Delta are bigger than that of the original Valkyries. And they even get bigger when you get to the 160 scale YF-19 and YF-21, which we'll see later in the video when we get the Valkyries into robot mode. This one we'll see in a different video later. And of course, now we'll be back in 2 and 2 with Gerwalk mode. All right, we're back by YouTube Magic, and we now have both the Rick Hunter and Roy FOKKER in their Gerwalk modes. Now, the Gerwalk modes, there are a few things you're going to have to do. Now, I originally learned how to transform using any moons or scorched earth, but there is a way to not have to unpeg the legs. And I know that some people say this, that the parts right here are hard, and actually I slide them up in my hand. You slide them down, you fold them out, and the legs fold down a little bit, and you don't have to take it off of the like you don't have to take the legs off. You can get a perfect transformation. It's just a little tricky, but you can do it. That's all I got to say, and it does work. It does work. But like I say, you really have to fold the arms. And the trick, if you really want to know how to make this work, make sure this is flush and fold these down as much as you can from that point so the arms can stay under the wings. And that's how I do it. And that's how I do it every time. Now, I don't transform these too often. There are some parts that you're going to have to look out for. And when you're transforming this into the Gerwalk mode, remember this comes in robot mode, so I've already done this once. There's a button right there where my hand is. You see where my hand is going? And that's what will pull the feet down. There's a button right there where that, let me show you where the nub is. You see that nub? There is a button right there, see? And it presses. There's also another button right here that you push in and out to slide the leg down. It's best, you better do it especially for Gerwalk mode, because that's how you get the extra swing that goes. And yeah, I'm gonna tell you like this, the price that you pay for this is so economical, it's not even funny. I mean, this is 160 bucks, but you're getting some quality. Is it perfect? Heck no, it ain't perfect. No, it ain't perfect. Boy, the thing got some, everything got issues, right? Everything got issues, but the main thing is it does work. Now, you compare this to the high metal R, which I'm not going to install the weapons on. Like I said before, this is going to somebody else. They're going to purchase this. Again, high metal R is just as good. You do have like faux parts because you do have to swap out things. But again, man, the price, look, the price that you pay for the high metal R is ridiculous. So just keep that in mind. And like I said before, I never really play with this due to the factory defect that it only came with the parts, that it came with 2 left parts. But as you can see here, again, I want you guys to know and understand, if you're collecting Macross Robotech figures, this is $200. That one in the middle is $200 now. It is. Go look it up. VF-1S Super Valkyrie is 200 bucks. It might go cheaper, but it still costs more than this, and it's smaller. But it does have metal parts. It has good quality plastic. But I mean, if you're gonna compare, the ThreeZero is better buy, and it's actually easier to get at times. So keep that in mind. Now, before we go, because like I said, this video will run long. These are the parts that are used on the sides of the figure to hold the Batloid mode or Batroid mode together. So you understand that you need these parts. You can do a perfect transformation without them, but these parts do serve a purpose. So we'll explain all that when we get them into robot mode, and then we'll get out of here, and then we'll be back in 2 and 2. All right, we're back by YouTube Magic, and we now have the Valkyries in their robot mode. To the left is going to be the ThreeZero VF-1J Rick Hunter, and to the right is going to be the VF-1S Roy FOKKER. In the middle is a VF-1A from Do You Remember Love? This is a high metal R. In the back is also a DX Chogokin by Bandai YF-21, which I will review shortly. Now, I want you to look closely at this figure because he does come with more stuff, but he's smaller and he's going to cost you more than those two. That back there, my friends, is probably going to cost you anywhere between $250 to $350. You got to hit Amazon up every so often. The price on that will drop down below $250. But the high metal R's, they're really kind of like hard to do. Like I say, I'm selling this one to somebody. And I just wanted to show them off, in the size comparisons and everything. Now this one right here is flawed, but it's still a good figure. You'll see it soon. Now let's look at the Valkyries. So to the left is the VF-1J, to the right is the VF-1S. And let me tell you, ThreeZero knocked these out of the park. They look fantastic. Articulation, well, we'll do it this way. Kind of goes like this. And you got to be careful. There is you got to deal with the wing. But the leg goes down to here. Now you can extend the leg, but I don't like it with the really long legs. It just looks odd. He does have a feet swivel right there, and because you have to pull the leg down like I showed you earlier. The fists do rotate because he has multiple swapping fists, and then for him I'm using the hand there, and then he has the trigger finger here. They all, the articulation is tight, it's not loose. You don't see anything on the side. He does have a little bit of a waist swivel. He's not going to do a 360. Now these don't so much articulate like, your Optimus Primes and things like that. They're not supposed to. I mean, but they do everything else. And let me tell you, these things are nice. I was taking the pictures. It was cold outside. These things were cold when I brought them back in. Well, let's look at the head sculpt real quick, and then we'll look at the VF-1J. Now, the VF-1S is a command type, and the command type is more than just 4 cannons. Technically, there are some differences in the body structure. The VF-1S and the VF-1A are built in the same factory. Now, the J's are only in the television series. They're not in the, like Do You Remember Love or anything like that. Do You Remember Love is either the A or the S, and that's it. And they never show the J. But the J's are particularly a funny name because if you think about the J itself stands for a lot of things. First, the factory that built the J's are in Japan. Also, they're assigned to junior squad leaders. So if you're like a up-and-coming squad leader, then you would get a VF-1J. And so the VF-1Js, they come in these colors, and of course, they're going to release Maximilian Genius and Milia Genius, or if Maximilian Sterling and Miria Sterling for you and Macross. And those are on pre-order with them right now. There's not really much else to say except let's just go to final thoughts. Final thoughts, I'm going to tell you like this. This is better than collecting anything else out there. This is better than collecting the high metal R's. And I think if they keep making these, they're going to make a lot of money. It's just that it has the Robotech moniker on it versus Macross, which I don't know. Collectors get really upset about that, which is stupid because these things are quality. So, you're going to get your money's worth. $160 right now, 170, before shipping. You get these two. They're made of metal. They look great. The sculpting's fantastic. There's all the parts are there. I can't wait until they do the super parts, and I want to see what else they do. We know that they're going to do Max and Miria, and then after that, we'll see. But I believe these things are selling, and ThreeZero does a very good job. Now, again, these are scaled a little bit smaller than that of the of Yamato, but they are worth it in every way. And trust me, you'll pay more for them, for this guy at 1/100 scale than you'll pay for those two at 1/60 scale. Let that sink in. And there's a lot of reason behind that. So, all right. So that's my final thoughts. Should you go out and pick up the Robotech ROBO-DOU VF-1J as well as the VF-1S? The answer to the question is, if you are into Robotech, then you absolutely positively should. The packaging is nice. It's reminiscent of that of the masterpieces by Toyami, but these will put Toyami to shame in every conceivable way. All right, y'all, this is Super Robot Ed bringing more news reveals. So then we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Look out for more reviews. I filmed a bunch of these in succession. I'll be releasing them staggeredly throughout the week. I'm on vacay. I'll probably be back home Thursday. We'll take it from there, y'all. Super Robot Ed. Peace.